Ever thought about, you know, opening your own restaurant? Or maybe you're already running one and thinking, how can I step up my game?
Yeah, it's a tough business.
It is. But I think especially for you guys, hotel and restaurant owners out there,
Mm.
you've probably come across advice from folks like, well, Maurice, for example.
Mm.
He's a real pro, been in hospitality forever, specializes in food and beverage. And today, we're really going to dive deep into his advice. We're going to, try to pull out those key things that he emphasizes, those strategies that can help, well, help anyone really avoid some of the common mistakes and set yourself up for success around.
Yeah, I mean, the restaurant industry, it's competitive, right? So you really need all the help you can get, and going straight to the source, like we're doing with Maurice's expertise, it's invaluable.
Definitely.
So what we're going to do today is kind of extract the core of what he's saying, how to navigate those really crucial decisions. Like every step of the way when you're opening a restaurant or if you're already running one, we're talking everything from, those initial costs, which can be, well,
Daunting.
daunting. Yeah, exactly. To getting your concept right down to the location,
Yeah.
how you're actually going to serve people the whole 9 yards. And we're going to filter all of that through Maurice's lens, his experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, whether you're a hotelier and you're thinking about adding like a really awesome dining experience to your hotel, or you've been running a restaurant for years and you just want to find that edge, that fresh perspective, Maurice has some really valuable stuff to offer. No matter what your scale is or what kind of operation you're running.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's jump right in. And Maurice really, he comes out strong right from the beginning talking about opening costs.
Oh,
Yeah.
He really doesn't sugarcoat it. This is make or break stuff, right?
It really is. I mean, one of the first things that jumps out when you read Maurice's advice is just how much those costs can actually vary.
Right.
It's not a one size fits all kind of thing. He really emphasizes that. It depends on, well, obviously the size of your place, where it is, but also like the specifics of your concept.
Right.
What kind of food are you serving? What's the vibe?
Right.
And then of course the equipment, all that stuff adds up. And he uses some pretty stark examples, I think, to really bring this home.
He does. I mean, the contrast he draws between per se,
Oh yeah.
that super high-end New York place,
$11 million investment.
11 million, yeah, versus what he mentions for a food truck, which can be as low as 10,000, maybe up to 50.
Huge difference.
It's huge. It really shows you just how broad, how much variety there is in this world, in the food and beverage world, right? So what do we learn from that? I mean, what's Maurice's takeaway from that kind of difference?
I think it's not just about the numbers themselves, it's about what drives them. He really wants you to think deeply about your concept first.
Okay.
What are you really trying to do? What kind of experience are you aiming for? Is it fine dining? Is it casual?
Right.
And then he's big on really looking closely at the neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
What are the costs like there? What have other businesses done? And then, fundamentally, how many people are you going to serve?
That capacity question, right?
Yeah, seating capacity. That's going to directly affect your equipment and how much money you can bring in.
Right. So it's a holistic view, right? It's not just like, oh, here's a ballpark. It's like, no, you really have to.
Fit in.
You have to really look at all the pieces. And Maurice goes even further than that. He's all about a detailed cost list. Like, don't just think about the big stuff. Think about everything. Right.
Absolutely. He breaks it down like, okay, rent, obviously. That's a big one. Then you've got all your equipment.
Yeah.
Your kitchen equipment, service equipment.
Right. But he also reminds us about those things that people forget sometimes. Licenses and permits.
Yeah.
That stuff can add up.
Yeah.
And even decoration.
Right.
Oh, totally.
Creating the right atmosphere. That costs money, too.
It does. Yeah.
So, Maurice is really about don't leave any stone unturned when you're doing your financial planning.
No stone unturned. And he's really, really big on this idea of a financial reserve, having that safety net. Right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, from his experience, unexpected expenses, they just happen.
They always do.
Always. Permits get delayed, equipment breaks down, maybe customers are a little slower to come in than you thought.
Right.
Having that cushion, that can be the difference between, making it through a rough patch and having to close up shop.
That's such a crucial point. And I think it really begs the question for anybody listening who's thinking about doing this. Like, have you built in a realistic buffer
Exactly.
for the things that are probably going to go wrong? Because something always does. Yeah. And then there are the hidden costs. Maurice talks about those too, the things that aren't, right there in your face, but they can really add up. Insurance, marketing, getting the word out.
Right.
You can have the best concept, the perfect location, but if nobody knows you exist.
Yeah. If you can't get people in the door.
Exactly.
So kind of switching gears a little bit, Maurice then moves into, what's really the foundation of any good restaurant.
Yeah.
And that's the concept.
Yeah. And he describes it really well. He calls it the guiding star.
I love that.
The guiding star of the whole project. It's more than just the type of food. It's the whole identity, the ethos.
Soul of the place.
Exactly. And Maurice is very clear. It needs to be well-defined. It needs to be attractive. And most importantly, it needs to match your target market.
Right. So you're not just doing this for yourself. You're doing this for the people you're hoping will come in and become regulars. Yeah, some really cool examples, I think, of how this can work. He talks about eco-conscious places like Leon.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, where they're really focusing on sustainable sourcing, compostable packaging,
That's really appealing to a lot of people now.
It really is. Yeah, it's a whole segment of the market that's really focused on that. And then he talks about, truly innovative concepts like Spice in Boston.
Oh, with the robots.
With the robots, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a bold vision.
That is. It's like something out of the future.
It is.
Yeah.
So what's he getting at with these examples? Like, what's the takeaway for our listeners?
Well, I think the main thing is it's not enough to just have a good idea. You have to test it.
Right.
And Maurice he's really practical about this. He says, try a pop-up, or even run a food truck for a while.
Let's get a feel for it.
Exactly. Get that real-world feedback. See how people react, fine-tune your menu, figure out your service style. You can do all that without, signing a long lease, investing a ton of money.
Right. You're minimizing the risk.
Exactly.
That's so smart. So you get that real-world data, and then Maurice connects this idea of the concept to something else that's absolutely critical, and that's location.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can have the most amazing idea, but if you're in the wrong spot,
you're sunk.
You're sunk. Yeah.
He's really firm about that. A good location it's essential. If you want to build that core group of regulars, the people that are going to keep coming back.
Right.
It's more than just foot traffic.
Right.
It's about strategy.
And he breaks it down too.
Yeah.
He really gives you like the things to think about. He talks about visibility. Can people see you?
Yeah, can they find you?
Is it easy to get to? And then he says, think about who lives in the area. What are their demographics? Like, how much money do they have to spend?
Right. What are their eating habits already?
Right. Does your concept even fit with what they want?
Exactly.
And then I love this. He's like, look at your competition.
Yeah.
Who else is around? Are you walking into a place that's already got 5 places doing exactly what you want to do?
Right.
And if so, how are you going to stand out?
Yeah.
Or is there a gap? Is there something missing that you can fill?
That nobody else is doing.
Yeah. So these are fundamental questions.
Yeah.
And I love that he uses the example of le dîner en bloc.
Oh, yeah. The white dinner.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
It is, because it's all about, these unique locations.
Right, the unexpected.
It's part of the appeal. It's
Yeah.
like, where's it going to be this year? It creates this buzz, this exclusivity.
Right.
And it shows that location, if you think about it creatively, can be a real part of your brand.
Like a signature.
A signature. Yeah, it's not just where you are, it's part of who you are.
Exactly.
So connecting all of this, I think what Maurice is getting at is you've got your concept, you've got your location, they have to work together.
Yeah, it's a partnership.
It's a partnership. They have to complement each other
to make sense together.
So then Maurice walks us through this other big decision, and that's, what kind of service format are you going to have?
Right. How are you actually going to serve the food?
Because that impacts so much, right?
Oh, absolutely. It affects your staffing, your equipment, just the whole flow of how you run things.
Day-to-day operations, yeah.
Yeah.
So he kind of lays out the main options. You've got fast food, which, he points out it can be lower cost to get going, but you need a lot of customers.
High volume.
Yeah. To make it work. And then you've got takeout, delivery.
Mm-hmm.
Which, of course, that's a whole other ball game with packaging and logistics and all that.
Right, getting the food there quickly and still looking good.
Right, exactly. Then, of course, food trucks, which we've talked about a bit.
Yeah.
They offer you that mobility, but they come with their own set of headaches.
Right, yeah. Rules and regulations and just the logistics of it.
And then you've got your traditional, table service.
Sit-down restaurant.
Sit down, yeah. And that's usually a bigger investment up front.
But you're aiming for that higher end, that full service experience.
Right. You're trying to create something special. So let's break each of these down a little bit, because Maurice has some really good specific insights.
Yeah, he gets into the nitty-gritty.
He does.
Huh.
So fast food first, he makes this interesting point about disposable packaging.
Oh, yeah.
Which, seems like a small thing.
Oh, it adds up.
But it adds up, yeah. It can really impact your budget. And then he talks about Five Guys.
Oh, yeah, I love their fries.
The fries are good. And they really emphasize that freshness, right?
Yeah, hand cut right there in front of you.
Right. And I think that's part of how they justify their pricing.
Right, you're paying for quality.
You're paying for quality.
Yeah.
So what's Maurice's point there? Like what's the key takeaway?
I think he's saying even in fast food, you can find ways to add value. Things that customers are willing to pay a little extra for.
So it's not just about being the cheapest.
Right. It's about finding that little something extra.
That's something special. Yeah. And then he gives this really practical tip for maximizing efficiency.
Oh, the U-shaped worktop.
The U-shaped worktop. Yeah. It seems like a small thing.
But it makes a big difference.
But he says it can really, speed up prep time.
Improve the flow.
Yeah. So if you're doing high volume, it's something to think about.
Makes sense.
Now, takeout and delivery. Maurice really emphasizes that, customers today, they want it fast.
Oh, yeah.
And they want it affordable.
Speed and price.
Mm-hmm. And he brings up Sweet Green, which I think is a really good example.
Yeah, I like it.
They're doing those healthy bowls, that you can customize, and they're fast.
5 minutes.
5 minutes, yeah, he said, which is key in that format.
If you're making people wait, they're going to go somewhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what else is important for takeout delivery? What does he highlight?
The packaging.
The packaging, yeah.
He says it's really, really important. It's got to be good quality.
Right.
And it's got to work. He gives the example of a poke bowl with their leak-proof containers.
Yeah.
Seems like a little detail, but it matters. Nobody wants to, open their delivery and it's all soggy and messed up.
And it's your brand, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how people are experiencing your food.
It's your first impression.
It is. So, okay, food trucks. We talked about the initial investment, which can be, anywhere from $10,000 to $500,000.
Big range.
Big range. Yeah, depending on how fancy you're getting. And Maurice talks about the grilled cheese truck in LA.
Oh, yeah.
As a success story. Focused menu done well. Really finding that niche.
Simple but good.
Simple but good, yeah.
Yeah.
But he has some warnings for people thinking about food trucks.
Oh, yeah.
What are some of the challenges that maybe people don't think about?
Parking,
yeah.
Big one. Every city's different.
Yeah.
Rules and regulations, permits, all that.
You got to know where you can and can't be.
And where you can be at what times.
Exactly, yeah.
And storage.
So storage.
You got to keep your food somewhere,
Yeah.
refrigeration, all that.
Can get expensive.
It can. And you've got to factor that in.
Right. So then lastly, table service.
Yeah.
That traditional kind of restaurant. And Maurice is right when he says it's more than just putting food on a plate.
Yeah, it's an experience.
It's an experience, yeah. You're creating an atmosphere, you're providing good service, you're paying attention to the details, the tableware.
Right, the little things.
He mentions L'Ambroisie in Paris.
Oh, yeah.
As an example of like the epitome of this high-end, really, really well-crafted experience. What's a really practical piece of advice that he has for table service places?
A good dishwasher.
And a good dishwasher, yeah.
If he's serious about that,
invest in that.
Invest in a good one.
Because it might not be the most exciting thing.
It's not glamorous.
But it is essential.
Keeps things running smoothly, keeps things clean. And it saves you headaches down the line.
Because if that breaks down in the middle of a busy service,
it's disaster.
Yeah, it's not good. So we've talked about, the initial costs, defining your concept, location, service format. And now Maurice brings up this other really, really important element. And it's about how you stand out, right? And he calls it the USP. The unique selling proposition.
Right, what makes you different?
Yeah, in his words, what is that USP?
So he says it's basically what makes you different from everybody else. It's that special something,
Mm.
the thing that's going to make customers choose you over the competition.
It's your secret weapon.
Yeah, your edge.
Your edge, yeah. And he's got some great examples, I think. Chipotle, he talks about, they position themselves as upscale, fast casual,
Right.
really emphasizing the quality of their ingredients.
Fresh, where it's coming from.
Yeah, and they carved out this whole niche.
It's a smart move.
And then you have something totally different, like Safe House, which is all about the spy theme.
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
It's an experience, right?
Yeah,
It's not just the food.
it's a whole thing.
So what's he saying with these different examples?
Well, he's saying your USP, it can be a lot of things. It can be about the food, the service, the atmosphere, the price, the experience.
Right. It could be anything that really sets you apart.
Exactly.
And I love this. He has this little test.
Oh, yeah, the 3-word test.
The 3-word test. Ask
Yeah.
people, friends, family, potential customers,
Describe your concept.
in 3 words. If they can't do it, or if they're all over the place,
You need to work on it
you got to go back
Mhm.
and really refine it.
until it's clear.
Yeah, so that people get it.
It's a simple test, but it works.
It's so simple. So now Maurice, he's big on, you can't just operate in a vacuum, right? You have to know what's going on around you.
Right.
And he really stresses the importance of market research. He calls it your early warning system,
Love that.
which I think is such a great way to put it. So why is he so big on this?
Well, he sees it as essential for validating your assumptions.
Right.
You might think you have a great idea,
Right.
but you need to know if the market actually agrees.
Right. You need to know if people want it.
Exactly. He uses the example of Real Food Daily in LA. They were early on the vegan trend. They
Right.
did their research. They saw where things were going.
Right.
And that was a big part of their success.
Yeah, so they rode that wave.
Exactly.
They didn't create it, but they saw it coming and they were ready for it.
Smart.
And he's got some really good practical suggestions for doing this research.
Yeah.
He talks about Google Trends.
Oh, yeah.
See what people are searching for, what the trends
Yeah.
are. Online surveys, get direct feedback from people.
And that they're one.
And even just observing your competition, what are they doing well? What are they not doing well?
Right. What can you learn from them?
And I think connecting this back to, the concept and location, it really informs those decisions, right?
Oh, absolutely. It tells you if there's even a market for what you're doing.
Right.
And the place you want to do it.
Right. It's not enough to just have a feeling. You've got to have data.
Data's key.
Okay, so Maurice then, he lays out some common pitfalls.
Oh, yeah. The things that trip people up.
Things that trip people up, yeah. Because he's seen it all, right?
He's been there.
He's seen it all. And these are things that can really, even if you've got a great idea, these can derail you.
Absolutely.
So number 1, he says, people consistently underestimate those startup costs.
Yeah. We talked about it earlier, but it's worth repeating.
Worth repeating, yeah. You've got to account for everything.
Don't just think about the big stuff.
Not just the big stuff, yeah. Permits,
Market it.
renovations,
Yeah.
all that stuff adds up.
Little things become big things.
Yeah. And then another big one he says is picking the wrong location.
Oh, yeah. You can have the best concept in the world.
But if you're in the wrong spot,
Nobody's going to find you.
he says, think about visibility.
Is it a good neighborhood? Is it attractive?
This is easy for people to get to.
Yeah.
These are all really important things.
They matter.
And then lastly, he says, not complying with regulations.
Yeah.
Not getting the right permits, licenses.
That can come back to bite you.
It can really bite you. Big fines.
Shutdowns.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Not worth the risk.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Really, really valuable stuff from Maurice. And I think, he kind of wraps it all up by saying this whole endeavor, opening and running a restaurant, it's a balance.
Between passion.
And logistics.
Yeah.
It's both, right?
50-50, he says.
50-50.
Yeah.
You got to have that drive, that love of food, that hospitality heart.
But you got to be practical, too.
You got to be practical. You got to have a good plan. And he reiterates this, right? He says, define your ideas, test them, be realistic.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
Don't get ahead of yourself. And I think this is really encouraging. He says, even people like Gordon Ramsay,
Yeah, famous chef.
Yeah, he's had
It
failures.
happens.
It happens, yeah.
It's a tough business.
It is. But the point is, you learn from it. You keep going.
You adapt.
So for all you hotel and restaurant owners listening, I think what we've learned from Maurice is, you know, success in this industry, it takes work. It takes planning,
A clear concept.
the right location, a good service format, one that fits with what you're trying to do, that unique selling proposition, that thing that makes you stand out. You got to do your research. You got to know your market.
And be aware of the pitfalls.
Yeah, the things that can trip you up. So it's creative, but it's also very practical.
Absolutely.
And thinking about what Marie said about that balance, passion and logistics.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you. Looking at your business or maybe your future business, what's the first thing you're going to do? Based on what we've talked about today, what's that first concrete step?
Yeah, what's that one thing you can take action on right now?
Whether you're just starting out, you've got this brand new idea, or you're already up and running and you're thinking, okay, how do I tweak things? We really encourage you to think about Maurice's advice. See how it applies to you, your specific situation.
It's all about taking that knowledge and making it work for you.
Yeah, make it your own. So thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Maurice's wisdom. Yeah. He's a real pro. We hope this gives you some good stuff to think about.
Some actionable strategies to navigate this crazy world of restaurants.
Because it is crazy, but it's also pretty amazing.
It is. It is.
Good luck out there.
And thanks for listening.